forest for the trees, regarding our gender identity and sexuality. When there's no place like home, empty air, an empty establishment. Friends with Dorothy, fighting for your civil rights, out on the cruel streets tonight.
The Pride seasons don't usually begin until June at the earliest. However, our good friends over there in Sligo Pride reckon that after 2 years of lockdowns and COVIDs and restrictions, that the community could benefit greatly from having an early Pride, and that's why they have an initiative that's going to be called Spring Pride. And the centerpiece of Spring Pride will be the Rainbow Ball, as you can see. To tell us more about not only what's happening over there in Sligo, but also to invite the entire community to join them at the Rainbow Ball on the 24th, 23rd, I think, of April. I'm joined today by my special guest, which is Katrina Bonner, who is the chair of Sligo Pride. I'm joined today with another fabulous guest coming to us all the way from Sligo Pride. It's the chairperson of the organisation, Katrina Bonner. So Katrina, welcome to LGBTQ+life.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
Yeah, Katrina, we had Max and a couple of your colleagues from the committee on last year. And I was hugely impressed with everything I've seen then and subsequently with the dynamism that's happening over in Sligo. How are you getting such a fabulous vibe happening in the LGBTQ+ community out there? Because Sligo isn't somewhere that leaps off the page immediately, but when people see what's happening out there, they can't fail to be impressed. Mm-hmm.
It's been incredible, especially with all the hard work that a lot of even my previous chairs and everything have put in since, especially since 2019. It's just, we've had a lot of great work with our sister organisation out west, who have been helping us kind of grow our community together and having more regular kind of meetups and everything. And it's been fantastic, honestly, especially since the pandemic and everything. Everyone has just been so ready to come and meet with each other, and you know, like we're just working so hard now just to open the gates and open up to the community, our wider communities now.
You were one of the first organizations that I came across that had a live event last year. Most of them, they were virtual events. Dublin certainly was a virtual event. How did yours go down, Kat? How successful was it? Was the weather kind to you?
Well, unfortunately with the weather, it was not kind, but we had a fantastic turnout despite the weather, and with everything that was going on, we decided to do a mix. We wanted to make sure that we had some online events and everything, so people could still go and get not the education, but all of the different kinds of information from our workshops. Mm-hmm. And also that we had something as a social gathering that could be socially distanced, but also still a lot of fun. We had a great time last year. We had a lovely drag king emceeing this almost Pride in the Park kind of event. And from what I heard, despite the rain, it was a lot of fun.
Who was your drag king? Give them a mention, because everybody needs a degree of recognition in this day and age.
Oh, I don't know the last name now. His name is Ben.
Okay, no worries. Look, as I say, drag kings are something that we're very keen on this program, because there's a shortage and there's an emerging drag king community, and that's why we're very delighted for anybody that can be there. But don't worry about that. The other thing I discovered when I was talking to Max and your colleagues was at the time you were planning on opening, I don't know if you'd call it a drop-in centre, but it was more or less a centre for the community to come together and just to relax, get to know each other. How's that been working out in the last 6 months or so?
We've been working towards that, especially now coming into Pride. We want to kind of make sure that we're still doing meetups, we're still doing things on a regular basis, but at the moment we're just continuously working on it. We hope to get something like a drop-in centre or a wee base of operations for Sligo Pride 2022, and just to kind of make sure that we can start opening up even more to the community. Out west is opened theirs now down in Castle Bar at the moment.
Now, something that I was curious about at the time, because when you have Dublin, you've got, I think, 4 or 5 universities and IT colleges, and the same with Cork, Limerick, Galway, even places like Athlone and Carlow and that. They've all got colleges, and they've got, if you like, a pool of people that they would automatically be able to draw from. What's the situation with the LGBTQ+ community in Sligo? Is there a certain student element there, and where do they come from?
Yeah, well, I think at the moment now there's been a lot of people coming together just of all ages. There is definitely a lot of students. There's been a great reception on taking up into the LGBTQ+ community and their society specifically in the IT, well, ATU now, it's a university now. But yeah, we've been trying to open up to make sure that we can to have as many different people with many different age ranges and students and all different walks of life just to come together. Some of at the moment we're still kind of we're still keeping in touch with our LGBTQIA+ society in the IT, but also with the now established lectures LGBTQIA+ society that's going to cover all of ATU, which is all around the Wild Atlantic Way.
Yeah. And do you have what I would call an industrial or a service base that you could draw from as well? Are there many, if you like, transnational companies operating there, even civil service departments where people would be obviously from the IT community, or sorry, the LGBTQ+ community as well?
Apologies.
You don't automatically think of, say, Sligo as having, if you like, an Intel or one of those major corporations. It's just something I'm curious about as to where your membership overall is drawn from. Does it largely have a base of young people, or is it got the workers there as well? Mm-hmm.
I think we have a mixture of both, to be perfectly honest. We've a handful of the students that get involved, but we also have a lot of different people, different people from different kind of workplaces. We have people who have been in like the civil defense and everything. I myself, I'm a business owner. I'm a photographer by trade. We have all sorts coming through, and we have 1 or 2 drag queens in. We have some creatives. We have, there's just a great mix of different industrial people here.
Yeah. And what about the rural? I mean, Sligo itself is quite a substantial town, but you're within, let's be honest, you're in a rural setting, whether it's North Mayo or whether it's Sligo itself, or even up to Donegal and places like that. Are you getting many coming to you from people who would, what we would call, be based on the Tholoon, based on the land?
We do get a lot of people who are based here in Sligo and based here around a couple of the different towns. We do, especially because Donegal as well does have some services, but does not have a Pride itself. Mm-hmm. We do get a lot of Donegal people coming down to join in during the parades and everything. We do get, we've kind of opened the floodgates to everybody. We've messaged every Pride in the country to invite them to our lovely ball as well, and just to kind of connect the community again, because I think during COVID, a lot of places did, they were just very much themselves.
Well,
but we do try to help out our sister counties as well. Like Leitrim Pride has just started up again for I think it's their second Pride, and we have different. I think there's another few bits and pieces kind of going on together as well with Out West reaching out and branching out into Roscommon and that as well. So we're trying to support them as well.
Well, that's what I've been trying to do on this program for basically the last 18 months. There's lots of things happening in Dublin, we know that, but COVID gave me the opportunity to go out there and talk to the people without having to physically travel. And what people will discover is there's so much happening out there in non-metropolitan Ireland, whether places like Sligo, places like Waterford, places like Youghal, places like Wexford, and we're hoping that we might be able to get to some of these great events next year. So isn't that positive to see?
It's absolutely amazing to see, especially with so many different people, like so many people don't live in the big metropolitan areas. And for us, like Sligo, we have been growing more and more of, especially even during COVID, we started doing these smaller meetups that were just coffee mornings, and those have tripled in size. We do games nights, we're doing the ball, we're going to keep continuously doing it. This was initially in conjunction with Out West, but they have taken over some of that stuff now themselves. But we're hoping to, it's one of those things just great to see more places being more open about the LGBTQI plus community here. Sure. Even in the Northwest, it's still at points there is still a fight there to be had, but Donegal needs to have its own pride. Sure. But it needs time. Yeah. But it's going, it's just amazing to see more and more people just embracing us.
People should never forget, leaving Roscommon aside, all of these counties voted overwhelmingly on marriage equality, to support marriage equality, whether it was Sligo, whether it was Mayo, whether it was Donegal. And that's something that I found very positive at the time, and I think it's certainly an energy and a goodwill that we can build on. Is that your experience as well?
100%. I think there's still a lot to be done, but we have been building momentum ever since, and we are getting there. We need, especially with them in regards to our trans community and everything as well, that there's still a lot to be done to help them, but we are building and we're getting there. We just need to keep going.
Sure, yeah.
And pardon me, sorry. As just someone who is, as someone who wants to just keep building and making, for Sligo Pride to be as open, as inclusive and as welcoming as possible, we want to make sure that everyone we're continuing to build on what we can. Yeah. Even from 2019, we've jumped leaps and bounds, and we're just continuing on. We're going to make sure we keep up that momentum.
Well, from what I've seen, Kath, the organisation is doing brilliant work. Give them all a pat on the back for me, because I think they're a credit to not only to the LGBTQ+ community in Sligo, but to the whole county itself. So there you go. Yeah.
They are absolutely fantastic. I couldn't have had any better team to come into.
Yeah. Before we talk about the Spring Pride, which a central event of that will be the Rainbow Ball, I just want to leap forward a bit to your 2022 Sligo Pride. Now, I gather it's happening in September. Is that correct?
Actually, it would be in August.
It's in August.
Traditionally, Sligo Pride actually is a week before Galway Pride.
Okay. Something I've read, and feel free to correct me on this, is that you were put out a notice saying you were looking for volunteers. Is that correct?
Yes, we're always looking for
organising the Pride and so on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. At the moment, we've been looking for volunteers for the Rainbow Ball, as we're getting everything kicked off, and there's a lot of different things we're offering over the day. But we are looking for, like, we're always looking for volunteers. We love having our volunteers come in to us, and they always bring a great energy to the day as well, and an invaluable to help us out as well.
So if people wanted to help as volunteers, whether it's with the Rainbow Ball or whether it's 2022 Sligo Pride, what's the best place to do that? Is it best to go to your website?
It's actually, we have set up a Sligo volunteers account on vol.ie. I think that's what it's called. Just double checking that. We have at the moment, our volunteer coordinator Sean is he's getting everything kind of organized. But usually what we do is we put a posting out on that and we get people to register. But also now that we also put it out on our social medias as well, on Sligo Pride on Facebook, at Sligo Pride Festival on Instagram, and also on Twitter.
Yep. Let's talk about the Rainbow Ball, because that's going to be the next big events that you're organizing. What was the thinking about? Oh, sorry about this. I just turned off my phone here. There's always pests. Kat, what was the thinking behind the Rainbow Ball? Is it to lead us into the summer? Is it that we're in need of some sort of energy boost? What can you tell us just the thinking behind it?
The thinking behind the Rainbow Ball, initially, actually, we were supposed to have it as a winter ball event, but due to COVID, we've had to move it into the spring. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, we're just very excited. We wanted to bring another event out that's, that's a big spring pride event, just to make sure that, we're still here. We're very, we're opening the gates, and we want to make sure people remember that Pride is it's during the whole year. It's not just ourselves in August. We wanted to make sure that we opened up spring with basically a bit of a bang now, and just to just to highlight that we want to bring everyone together again, especially now coming into the spring.
I'll just read out from your press release what it says. It says, Sligo Pride Rainbow Ball aims to be a night of fun and euphoria. The idea was to try and recreate the Debs / prom, but to make it queer. Now that's a very interesting one, which I'll just talk to you about in a sec. But not everybody had a chance to get their true authentic self. So Sligo Pride has planned a big queer rainbow ball. What's not to like about that? Now, people of my generation, I have to say, we didn't have, well, first of all, we only had queers back in those days. We didn't have gay people or lesbians, or we just had queers. But we didn't have Debs either. So is it very much that I see Debs as males go along in tuxes and dinner jackets and all of that, and ladies go along, or women go along in long dresses with fabulous hair. What's your thinking behind that, and how will it differ slightly as a queer event?
Well, as a queer event, we're encouraging people to present as they would like to present as themselves. If there are some people who, even before COVID, before even years before, that they may have went to their prom or their Debs or went to a dance, and they couldn't present how they would want to have presented. Mm-hmm. Via the fact that they might have transitioned since, or they weren't out as their authentic selves either. So we wanted to give people a space that they could go and express themselves as that, and just have a really beautiful time. It's a chance for some people who may have not had the opportunity to go to their own Debs, or their own prom, or their own kind of dinner dance, and just be themselves. I know myself, I did not have that I kind of didn't have that opportunity myself. I did go to my prom, but not as myself, if you get me.
I understand perfectly. No, the reason why I asked that, Kat, is that when I came back to Ireland from Australia, I discovered this absolutely fabulous event that was called the Gag Ball. And the Gag Ball was, as we say, it was a queer event that used to take place in a warehouse back in the days when the rave scene was. Now, when you went to that, it was very much the guys in leather, and we had drag queens. We even had gimps, if you can imagine. People, gimps being led around on chains and things like that. Are such, shall we say, characters welcomed at the Rainbow Ball, or is it? I appreciate if you're in a gimp costume, it's probably difficult to sit down and have a three-piece meal, but a three-course meal. But if somebody turned up like that, would they be welcome?
I would say so, to be perfectly honest. We've been encouraging people, I do keep in touch here and there with the Leathermen of Ireland, and we've been, I've just been saying to them if they want to come as, present as they would like to be presented, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is we have said that it is an 18+ event just because we are selling alcohol in that, but
Sure.
It's also a place where people can be themselves.
Yeah, well, I'm quite friendly with some of the leather men, and they're very colourful costumes. There's also a group which I met at the last Dublin Pride that dress up as animals. I don't know if you've come across them as well. They have wonderful hats. Now, as I say, they augment any LGBT or any queer event. So I think if you get any of those, I think you'll really have a very colourful evening.
And they're such a lovely group as well. Like, just as as a whole, they're just the nicest people.
Yeah. Well, the other ones as well, who if they turn up either en masse or individually, are the bears. They are such fabulous people. They're one of the most welcoming group I've ever gone out with as well. So who knows what you might get on the night. Tell us this then. Tell us what's happening then, because it's saying it's going to take place at the Clayton Hotel. Now, I've had a look. It's a very, it's quite an upmarket hotel, the Clayton. So if people wanted to go down there, say from this part of the world, or Cork, or Belfast, or whatever, might they be able to stay overnight? It's not the cheapest place to stay, but it certainly is a hotel you could recommend. So that's not part of the package, I'm assuming. They'd have to make their own arrangements.
Well, we have talked to the hotel. We have blocked off a certain amount of rooms. They're very limited at the moment, but I don't know if I'm actually. But we're going to make an announcement about that very soon. We do, we are trying to encourage people to book at the hotel as well. But we do have, I would just keep an eye out on our social medias at the moment. Okay. Apologies, I just need to double check to make sure I can see all that.
Would they be better off holding off and perhaps going through you guys? Or shall we say, grab the opportunity and book themselves? Because it could, as you say, there may be better deals by going through you guys. Like at this stage, I don't know.
I would encourage them to check out our social media very soon. We'll get a post out just to give people information. Just because, again, like we need to double, yourself, like I need to double check just to make sure our social up here is sorted.
Well, just doing a plug for the Clayton. It's got a gym, it's got a swimming pool, it's got fabulous restaurants, and I've had a look at the rooms. They're well worth it. Anybody who stays there, I don't think they'll be disappointed.
Not a chance. And it's been, the Clayton has been very accommodating to us as well in the past as well. During even during 2019, they had hosted our after party for Pride in conjunction with the outing festival. And they've always been very good.
Yeah. So just one of those pieces of logistics for somebody who might be coming down from Dublin and perhaps chooses to stay in Sligo for whatever reason. How far away is the venue from the centre of Sligo? Is it close by, or a bit of a taxi ride away?
It's not too far away. Now, I would recommend if you're coming in your glad rags, yes, take a taxi. But it's or the bus. There is a taxi rank that's just 2 seconds down the road from the bus station. Some taxis pick up actually there as well. And there's also a bus that goes directly around from the bus station over to the Clarion Road, and that would leave you off there as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah. The other piece, there is a 3-course meal, which will be, I'm sure, of a very high standard. But the great thing is you've got some entertainment as well. You've got some drag acts as well. Just give them a quick plug, Katrina.
Yeah, we have the absolutely wonderful Candy Warhol, Mia Gold, and Kiki St. Clair performing at our ball. Sorry, they're bringing their own DJ, DJ Natmac, and I can't wait. Like a lot of our committee members saw them last year in Mayo Pride, and they are incredibly talented, and I cannot wait until we see them.
I can certainly recommend having seen them perform in Dublin, that you will not, anybody who goes, they will not be disappointed. The other bit as well, Kat, there's 2 things, is that you've got, you've got a quiet room for people who want to take a breather. You've also got what I call the makeup artist and stylist coming along. I think that's going to appeal to a lot of people who would like to look their best, but may not feel comfortable doing it. Just tell us a little bit about that as well.
So we have two very wonderful stylists. We have a wonderful MUA, Maria Cunningham, and Christine Michelle, who's also our hairstylist. They are fantastic. And what we're hoping to do is we want to make sure people feel like they can come and, like, especially if someone, again, like if someone is not out or maybe is living in an unsafe environment for them with that kind of to get them ready, just to make sure that they can feel amazing, just to give them that thing that
I think that's an incredible idea, because you can see how it appeals to people, and particularly people who may not have done this in public before, and it really does add to the ambience of the evening. So just 2 things before we go, Katrina. One is, first of all, how long does it go on for? What is it going? Because it's clearly it's a hotel. It's not going to go on until 7 in the morning like a warehouse party. But how long do you expect it will continue on for?
Well, I think, we're kicking off at, the doors open at 7 p.m. and we're going to get everyone kind of in and sit down around 8. We're going to, our performers then take over after the meal, and we're hoping, we're not going to end it too early, but we'll hopefully keep it going until at the very least 12:30. But we're if it's a thing, we'll keep open until they kick us out.
That's it, or you get raided. And last but by no means least, it's incredibly good value. I mean, if I'm right, it's thinking it's 15 euros an individual. Am I correct in that?
You're 100% correct. It is 15 euros for the full ticket price. But what we are doing now is we have a limited amount of tickets that are actually discounted for people who may be in direct provision, who may be on the social welfare, who may be who might need a little bit of financial help but still want to go to the ball, which will take a certain percentage off. You just need to get in touch with us through our email and sligopride@gmail.com.
And I would imagine that would apply to pensioners like myself. Since we're technically on wage. Last but by no means least, Kath, how do they get those tickets? Do they get them by going through you guys, or do they go through Eventbrite or something of that nature?
Well, actually, it's Eventbrite. For the discounted tickets, you need to email us directly. So we will give you the promo code. but everything is on our Eventbrite page. If you go to the Facebook event at the Rainbow Ball or any of our social medias, you'll actually find a link tree that will take you to the Eventbrite.
Yeah. Look, you got to give our congratulations to Tara, because she's your event coordinator, and I think she's done a phenomenal job, as have the rest of the committee as well, including yourself. So look, have a great evening. It's the 23rd of April, am I correct on that one?
It is the 23rd of April and the doors open at 7 p.m.
And the place to be is at the Clayton in Sligo for the Spring Pride Rainbow Ball. So Kath Bonner, it's been a delight having you as our guest today, and we look forward to trying to catch up with you for Sligo Pride 2022, because it's there's everybody I've met from out there, they're just such fabulous people.
They are an absolutely amazing team, and I'm, like I said, I'm very fortunate to be taking the reins for them for this year, and thank you so much for having me, and hope to see you at the ball.
Friends of Dorothy, come out off the sidewalk and onto the street, to the sound of those legendary feet. When there's no place like home, anti-him, anti-establishment, with the chaff and the short straw, they'll have a stuff for sure. Anti-him, I'm anti-establishment. They took my name and the clothes I own. They broke our hearts, but not our souls. When there's no place like home, when there's no place like home, when there's no place like home.